All right, so I have to talk about the Brazilian election because this guy Bolsonaro, who's running, is hilarious. The American media, the Guardian, the CNNs, all of the American media is already calling him the Trump of Brazil. They're calling him outright misogynist, sexist, racist, homophobe, transphobe, all the different things that they tried with Trump, which didn't work, by the way. They're calling this guy Bolsonaro. And they're comparing him to Trump, but actually 99% of the quotes, the most famous quotes that are attributed to Bolsonaro that they're using against him in these elections coming up in October, Trump couldn't even get away with saying these things. No American politician could get away with saying some of these things. And some of these quotes are pretty funny. I laughed at pretty much almost every single one. So according to Wikipedia, this is how Bolsonaro is described. He's described as having a very far-right point of view. He wants the reduction in state in all of its spheres. He wants the free market. He wants homeschooling. He wants a right-wing point of view in schools. He wants private health care. He wants the end of gun control. He wants the prohibition of same-sex marriage and family planning. And he is also in strong favor of law and order policies and campaigning to lower the age of criminal responsibility and further increasing the prison population of Brazil. So the one thing where he talks about campaigning to lower the age of criminal responsibility, this is a big problem in Brazil. There's a lot of 16, 17-year-olds, adolescent gang members in Brazil because of the demographics there, because Brazil allowed itself to go from pretty much 90% Portuguese, Italian, and German population to 50% Portuguese, Italian, and German 50% white population. This is the problem that they're having, is because of the demographic shift. Just like London is experiencing, just like Europe is experiencing, just like we are experiencing here, as a matter of fact, to be honest. And this is a big problem here because these kids can murder people, can rape people, can rob people's houses, and they're not being tried. They're not being punished severely enough for them to stop. They're just going to turn around and do the same exact thing next week. So this is a big problem in Brazil. Some of the gang members, they call them bandidos, and he's very, very, very against them. And so if you can notice here, all the things that he is for in Brazil, they once had, and all the things that he is for in Brazil is also what the left is trying to do to us here in America. So let's just in case you didn't notice here, he wants the reduction of state in all of its spheres, the free market, and homeschooling. Okay, another thing is private health care. So they have socialized health care. He wants more privatized health care. And this is what the left here in America, they want socialized health care. Look how well it's working out for Brazil. You can look to Brazil for the outcome of most of these progressive policies that you're seeing being pushed for here in America. He wants the end of gun control. You know, there was a time where Brazil was a lot easier to get a gun. Now today, it's illegal to have a gun as a private owner. It's very difficult to get a gun as a private owner in the country of Brazil. Look how well that's working out for you. So the leftists who want to push gun control, who want more gun laws here, look how well it's working out in Brazil. Look how well it's working out in Honduras. Look how well it's working out in Mexico, Guatemala, all these different countries that have a high rate of diversity, which they also want here. A high rate of diversity. They also have a high rate of gun crime, much higher than ours here, much, much higher in the case of Honduras and Brazil, and yet the guns are completely illegal there. So he's trying to end gun control. He's trying to bring back the private ownership of guns. He's trying to prohibit same-sex marriage. Well, we lost on that here. Conservatives lost on same-sex marriage here quite a while ago. He's in favor of law and order policies, campaigning to lower the age of criminality. These are all things that the left is trying to do here. They're trying to get rid of law and order. They're trying to institute gun control. They're trying to have more degeneracy in our society. And you can just look to Brazil to how things pretty much turn out while instituting these progressive politics, these progressive policies. Now, some of these quotes that I'm talking about here are pretty hilarious. He says, and I quote, this is a real quote, "I wish Pinochet killed more people." I agree. He says he would rather his child die in an accident than be gay. This is in 2011. Do you think Trump would have gotten away with something like that here in America? I guess they're a little bit less politically correct in Brazil, maybe, but it's coming. He also says that An adolescent can rape and kill 200 people and is still not treated like a criminal in Brazil. Most minors know that if they're going to commit a robbery, it's better to kill the victim, as there is less of a chance of being caught, and if they are, the punishment will be the same. So he's talking about all the different gang members who are 15, 16, 17 years old who are killing people and raping people there in Brazil, which they have a big problem with in like some of the favelas and stuff like that, some of the very diverse areas there in Brazil. He also says he also accused the openly gay left-wing politician John Willis, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, as of heterophobia. So he accused this gay politician of heterophobia when he refused to sit next to Bolsonaro on a plane. That's hilarious. Apparently in Brazil, you can get away with a lot more than you can here for politicians' sake. I think they're just mostly sick of people. Most of their politicians in Brazil are corrupt. They're connected with Petrobras. They've had, I think, 2 impeachments within the past 4 years. They marched. There was millions of people marching against their corrupt politicians or corrupt presidents. And Bolsonaro really is the only a candidate that is not corrupt in any way, shape, or form. He's the only candidate that doesn't have any connections to Petrobras. This is the reason why he's rising in the polls, because a lot of these Petrobras investigations that are going on in Brazil actually right now are kind of downing some of the other candidates, I believe, from what I've read. So he's the only one that actually can give Brazil hope. He's the only one that can reverse the course, because how well has it been going for you, Brazil, electing all of these Marxist socialist politicians? How well has it been going for you? It's gotten so bad demographically there. So much tension between demographics there, particularly in the white community down south, where there was this movement, I don't know if it's still going on, but there's this movement of all the white Brazilians in the south of Brazil, because most of the south of Brazil is white, to separate from the rest of the country and become their own country. This is a real movement that was happening. You have, actually there's a documentary on the History Channel, I believe it was, that did a documentary about Dr. Mengele and how there's this whole, like, story, this kind of, like, this myth, it could be a myth, could be real, of Dr. Mengele visiting Brazil or fleeing to Brazil after the World War II. And experimenting on the cows there, farmers' cows, making them twins and things like that to increase their cattle population, and also experimenting on some of the mothers. Now, within this particular town, which is mostly German, blonde-hair, blue-eyed town in Brazil, it's called Candido Godoy. Within this particular town, 1 in 5 children are twins, blonde hair, blue eyes. So, obviously something's going on there in that town to have such high rate of twin population. I mean, you have the mother and her sister, they're both twins, and then each child of each couple has twins, and then they have twins, and then they have twins. 1 in 5 child who's born is a twin there. Mostly blonde hair and blue eyes. They attribute it to the water there, something wrong with the water, but I don't think that can explain that. I mean, that has to be the highest birth rate of twins in the entire world, 1 in 5. Let's go through a couple of slivers of some clips here. So this is him battling it out with a couple of students, a couple of disgusting feminist lesbian students in university there in Brazil. Here that is right now.
Eu sou bissexual.
Sem problema nenhum.
Sem problema nenhum.
A minha briga é com kit gay.
So she says, I'm bisexual. Do you have a problem with that? He says, I don't have a problem with that at all. And he goes on to say that he has a problem with people pushing their sexuality, their homosexuality on children. Here he is right here.
Eu não quero criancinha de 6 anos de idade tem acesso ao kit gay. Essa que é a minha briga.
He says, I just don't want kids of 5 that are 5 years old having access to seeing things that is gay. You know, seeing gay people kiss, seeing gay people have sexual relations and things like that. This is a big problem that we have here as well. This is a problem that actually most countries that have a big population of European people have a problem, because we all know why, right? We all know who's behind the design of that. This Marxian feminist gay homosexual movement that's been creeping into most European societies, most countries that have a large proportion of European people. And he says, I just don't want my kids to see it. I just don't want kids to see it. Here in America, we have full-on naked men dancing in front of children as they march down the street. We have transgenders dancing at kids' talent shows in New York on the stage for a second-grade talent show class. A second-grade talent show. He goes on to argue with these students. You guys I'll link this video in the description. I'm not sure if you guys will actually know what they're saying here, but it's pretty hilarious. I mean, the guy's channel is exploding. You guys should go check out his channel. Many YouTubers in Brazil are talking about him, propping him up, mostly white Brazilian YouTubers, of course. And here's a video of him with like this kind of like commercial piece or this ad about bringing back gun ownership in Brazil.
Fotos de Bolsonaro ensinando uma criança a fazer o sinal de revólver em cima do trio elétrico circularam nas.
So basically, it's the media talking trash on him because he made the kind of like the shape of a gun with his fingers and told the kid to do it, and basically the media is bashing him for teaching kids bad things. Meanwhile, the media is completely for in Brazil teaching kids, showing kids lesbians kissing and showing gay dudes having partaking in sodomy. They're completely fine with that, but when it comes to guns, they're completely bashing him for making the shape of a gun with his finger and thumb here.
Sociais e nos veículos de imprensa.
Shooter ready. Stand by. Go.
Basically, he's basically pushing for the end to gun control in Brazil, and a lot of people are behind him. You can see that the first comment here by this guy named Marcelo Carvalho. He says, "Precisamos dessa mentalidade americana também no Brasil." He's basically saying we need this American mentality in Brazil. We need the same American mentality in Brazil. He says, "E vamos defender nossas famílias e bens." Basically, he's saying we're going to defend our families from gang members. Or another video here on his channel, and he's talking about the fake news. Let me show you this real quick.
Olá, amigos. Jair Bolsonaro. Mais fake news.
And basically, again, all the comments are positive. You see this particular comment here where they're repeating kind of what they tried to do to Trump here in the beginning when he was running for election. This person says, Thiago Diaz says, chega até ser engraçado essa aplicação da mídia. Primeiro dizem que o Bolsonaro é contra gay, depois mulheres, depois negros, depois pobres. So basically what he's saying is, first, the media started to say that Bolsonaro is against gay people, then they're saying that he's against women, then they're saying he's against blacks, then they're saying he's against poor people, and then they just keep on continuing on with the same propaganda that they did with Trump while he was running for election. So you have the same thing happening in Brazil, which is happening here in America, which has happened in America. They're trying the same tactics over there, very repetitive tactics over there. And I personally don't think that it's going to work. I think Bolsonaro will win the election, and I hope people get out and vote for him.